Hello students and teachers. How are you? Thank you, I'm fine. You may sit down. Okay. Now we all live on this earth, do we? Yes. We all live on the planet Earth. Our lesson today, teachers, we're still on the same strand, Earth and beyond. Sub-strand, space exploration. Our outcome is still based on 8.4.2. And our topic is on the Earth's atmosphere. What do you think atmosphere is? Nanadai. Maybe you heard of the word atmosphere. What do you think is atmosphere?
The things around the earth.
Good answer. Helen?
A layer that surrounds the earth.
A layer that surrounds the earth. Let's have a look at our diagram here, which is on the board. What is in the center of this circle here? The earth. We see the first colored layer here and the next colored layer. Then we see the third layer, which is also colored different. We say that it is, as Helen said, it is the layer of the earth. We have one answer here. What do you think it is?
Layer of gases.
Layer of?
Gases.
Layer of gases. It is the layer of gases. Bobby? Gail? Could I have Gail? And William, please. Thank you. There are how many layers? There are layers of gases which make up the
Atmosphere.
Good. So how many layers do we have? Let's count. How many? Count. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 main layers. Bobby has one. Bobby, I would like you to identify which layer. Read the word to the class, or read the name of the layer to the class, and paste it on the layer. William? And Gail? Thank you. Right, let's have a look at this picture here on the screen. What is this picture about? The earth. I'll give you 1 minute to discuss with your friend about this part or this section of the earth that is photographed, and what do you see over it. And you discuss what is this white stuff or mist, or is it cloud that is over the part section of the earth? I forgot to cut this Right, let's hear from some of your groups. Could we have Terence? Terence, what did your group think about that part of this section of the earth?
The first layer of gas. The first layer of gas.
First layer of gas. We'll have one from Hayano's group.
It kind of looks like clouds.
And I'll go like clouds. Since we have a globe on the table, we have a globe which is a model of the earth. So we will have three people. We had three people who labeled the part of the layers of the atmosphere. Now we will have three people again to come up to the front. Could I have Patrick? Thank you, Patrick. Come up to the front. Could I have also Daira? Pick a material each from the table. Could you stand in front? And Junior. Others, this is your activity. Pay attention. They will read the instruction. You will also read the instruction, and they will do the demonstration, since we have only one globe. So pay attention, watching. Okay. Our first, before we begin the activity, can each of you describe to your students the kind of material you are holding?
This is a material. It's a bed sheet, but it's kind of like thick.
Can you spread it? Spread it for the class. Okay. Patrick?
This is a material and it's thin.
This is a material. It's a baby quilt and it's very thick.
Can you spread it for the class? Okay, our first instruction. Our first instruction, Junior, Patrick, Daira, others, read the instruction. And the person who reads the instruction, please do that activity or do follow the instruction. If you want to read, let's read. Hey. Your question is at the bottom. Okay, let's have a look at our first chart with the diagram of the atmosphere. These are the three words, or the three layers, names of the layers of the atmosphere. But they are not in the correct place, or they may be in the correct place, but these are the three layers of the atmosphere with their names. So which of that would you fit that into? Quickly jot that down. Our next question, or instruction, sorry. could we read the instruction, class? Your question there again. And our last instruction. Cover it properly. Turn right. Okay. I'll give you 2 minutes to discuss, and another 3 minutes, which is a total of 5 minutes, to write down your answers. Your arrow is going opposite. You put the head of the arrow towards the left. That's the correct way. Why did we put the thick quilt? What do you think is the thick quilt? Why did we put the thick quilt? What am I? Stroposphere. Why? Which blanket? The quilt, and then the thick lap, and then the thin lap. Keep the heat of the sun. Which layer? Forget the names. Which layer? The first one, the second one, or the third one? You think stratosphere is the first layer? Okay, then you have to draw a diagram to make sure that you're confirmed. When we go through, we'll find out which is the correct layer. Okay, you think the stratosphere? What do you think? Which one is the first layer? What definition? The wedge. You're guessing. Predicting. That's good. But why did we put those three materials? The first one is the thick one, the second one a bit thicker, and the thin one over. Thick quilt or baby blanket, and then thick lap, and then a very thin lap. Right, it represents the gases or the layers of the earth around the earth. So, thickness of each layer, layers of gas. Okay. What do you think the thickness represents? The distance? What does it represent? How strong the gas, or the distance, how dense, thick, how dense it is, the layer of Earth's atmosphere is, the density of each layer. Okay, the next question is, why? Is atmosphere that really important? Why? Okay, you make your list down, your reasons.
So we make it clear. Some of them are getting the size of the diagram there. They're saying that thickness is on the outside, it should be inside. So I told them it's not that, it's saying that it's the dense side of that. So I just make it clear. They're comparing the diagram to the last day.
Do I have your attention? We have gone past the 5 minutes. Now let's see. Let's see our model here. And you compare with the diagram that is on the chart. The first, these cloths represent what? The layers of quarry?
Of the atmosphere.
Right. This layer, this is the layer. The third layer outside or above the other two layers. Feel and tell the class. How thick is this layer?
It's thin.
It is thin. Do not confuse yourself. This thin layer means that the last layer is not as dense. It is not as dense as the other two layers. So the second layer, which is this layer, is a bit thicker than the first material that I took out from the globe, so the first layer. And the last layer, closest to the surface of the earth, is very thick. So it means that, Harold, what does it mean? The atmosphere Earth. Oh, Harold, pardon me. Raymond, what does this thick blanket tell you about the atmosphere closest to the Earth?
It's very thick and it
blocks the heat of the sun.
It's good. So it is very thick, meaning the atmosphere is dense. So let's have a look at our diagram again. Let's go back to our diagram. As we mentioned, this thin layer here represents the density of the last layer of the atmosphere here. And the next lap represents the second layer here, the density of each layer. So this layer is a bit thicker than the outside layer. The final layer, closest to the atmosphere, is much more dense than the other two. Any questions? Anyone who is not sure? Right, quickly describe the structure of the layer of the Earth's atmosphere.
Earth's atmosphere or Earth's... No, you didn't.
That blanket.
You talk closer to the atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere.
Closer to the Earth.
No, you talk atmosphere, but anyway.
Have we written our description? Our description describes the structure of the Earth's atmosphere. To the front. Your eyes to the front, please. Let's check our layers of the atmosphere. We have on the chart, as our first 3 students who put the layers of the atmosphere, the first layer our first student label this as ionosphere. Say the word ionosphere. The next one, the second layer after the first layer, is the word troposphere. 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 Right. And the next word is stratosphere. Right, let's confirm with our layers of the earth. Let's have a look at our correction. The first, we have the earth, which is surrounded by the first layer, which is much thicker or dense, very dense, because it has a lot of gases and water vapor that is in it. This layer is called the troposphere. The next layer after that we see is known as the stratosphere. And our last layer, which is greater in distance but very thin in density, is the ionosphere. Our most important question is, what do the atmosphere do? Is it really important? Is the next question. A minute for you to discuss. Yes. Right. Good. Or else we will be roasted. Yes. But, protects the gravity around the earth. But gravity holds. What does gravity do? What does the Earth's gravity do? If I throw this one up, it comes down. So what does the gravity? It pulls things down. So if the gravity pulls things down, what do you think? Does it pull the atmosphere, holds the atmosphere? No. Then if the gravity does not pull the atmosphere down, then that means there wouldn't be any atmosphere. It would have floated out into space. Do you think so? Yes, it would have. Because of gravity, it pulls all the gases. It keeps them around the Earth. If there is no gravity, everything would have floated out of space, into space. But very good. You mentioned gravity, which is very important also to atmosphere. Right, let's hear from our groups. What is the atmosphere therefore? Is it important to us? If it is important, then why is it important? We should have Tulanga to explain to us. Tulanga?
The atmosphere is important because if there was no atmosphere, we would all be burnt by the heat of the sun. Our skin would be peeled off.
Good explanation, good reason. If there was no atmosphere, we would burn alive, just like you sit next to the fire and you feel the heat burning. If you get closer, it burns your skin off. Could we have one from group 1?
Earth is very important because it protects.
Atmosphere.
Sorry, the atmosphere is very important because it protects the earth from the harmful radiation from the sun.
Right, the harmful radiation, very important. The sun gives off a lot of rays, very harmful radiation. Ultraviolet radiation, gamma rays, and all kinds of rays which are very dangerous. So the layer of the Earth's atmosphere is very much important. It protects us from all this. It also is very important for the Earth's atmosphere in the first layer, the layer closest to the Earth's surface. Could I have your eyes? The troposphere in this layer here, this first layer of the atmosphere, is very important because this is where all the life exists, all life exists. And in here, there are gases which are essential for all living things to exist. That is carbon dioxide, oxygen, and any other gases that is also needed. We also have water vapor here, which is very important. Even right now we are sitting, there is water vapor all around us. Our second layer is the stratosphere. This is about 15 kilometers thick. 15 kilometers, it starts at the height of 15 kilometers and goes upwards. But as you go higher into the atmosphere, you do not know, scientists don't really know where the atmosphere ends. It just goes and fades away. It fades. The density, when the density of the next layer becomes thinner, they know that it is the next layer. So there is no indication of this is the next layer and the next layer is this and this, no. So it just fades and they know that that is the next layer. But in this area, the temperature is very hot. It increases, temperature increases. By the time we come to the last layer, this temperature around here is very, very hot. And we have all the meteors, or we have the sun rays that come here. Some of these may pass through, some of these may bounce off, reflected. Others will come in straight and may bounce off from this layer. And only sufficient amount of sunlight that we receive is sufficient or suitable enough for us to survive. So atmosphere is very important. Let's have a look at our summary. Our summary, the Earth's atmosphere is made up of gases. Someone can read, someone can write. The Earth's atmosphere, most life exists in the troposphere. Our next summary points. Keeps the earth warm enough for all living things to survive. Next summary point, protects the earth from harmful sun rays. Example is one ultraviolet ray, gamma rays, or meteors are other examples. Our key phrase. Anyone to give us our key phrase? Okay, we'll have Brandon to give us our key phrase. What is our key phrase?
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Right, he gave us one word, the Earth's atmosphere. Good. Our next lesson topic, teachers, would be air is life, water is life. These are the materials that you will bring with you. A model of a man, model of a plant, or if you can bring a real plant. Strings, you may use strings, nylon strings that mothers sew the balloon with. Blank flashcards, a heating stand, kettle, or a tin with lid, you may use a tin with lid. Banner, rolled aluminum tube or bamboo. If you do not have, you may use a bamboo, teachers. A placemat, damp cloth, always accompanied with a bucket of water. And that will be all for our lesson. Thank you, students and teachers. You're welcome.